Kinfolk, what it do? Hold on. Yo, Kinfolk and Skinfolk, what it do? Newbies, y'all not in the wrong place. Ask the lifers where we are. We are the Life Be Lifing podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are hosted by none other than the vivacious, the courageous, the wise, the witty, squishy gangster, Mimi, the
What
goddess.
up? What it do?
And folks, she is flanked by none other than your favorite fat freckled man, your favorite coach's favorite coach, the big dog himself. Who? Coach is in the building.
I love these intros. They never get old.
Hey man, you gotta keep it popping, gotta keep it fresh for the folk.
For
Gots to.
sure.
You know what I'm saying? So thank you all for joining us tonight for the live stream episode of Life Be Life. You know what I mean? You switch it up every now and then on y'all. Keep
Yeah,
it
sometimes we
fresh,
gotta
keep it
do it
fun,
live.
keep it funky. Um Now I want to issue a trigger warning because we
Mm.
are going to talk about some sensitive matters here. Um and we do not intend to put any of y'all in a bad place. So as much as we want y'all to hit like, share, watch from the beginning of an episode to the end of an episode, if somehow this episode puts you in a bad place, we understand if you gotta check out. Um, but it otherwise, come along with us for the ride. Mish, intro us into the discussion, please.
So, scrolling Facebook one day, and I saw a post someone made about how adults are not the only sexual predators, and
Mm,
that we in this life have probably encountered more child sexual predators than we realized. So I decided I wanted to kind of explore this topic with my co host a little bit more because we have talked about SA, and more specifically, SA on men, and how that kind of gets overlooked or, swept under the rug or kind of
mhm,
shrugged off because people don't think it's a thing that really happens. And I said to Nah, I feel like people don't think that child on child sexual assault, and the acronym is COCSA. It's a thing, look it up, Google it, is really something that happens on a regular basis. But I'm coming to find that it happens probably more than adult sexual
mm,
assault on child happens.
mm,
And it comes in many different forms that sometimes seem harmless but graduate into something very major. So yeah, I wanted to kind of touch on that today. So nah, I mean,
no,
I
didn't.
like you. Oh yeah, let's listen. Let's not bring him into this, but because apparently he sex trafficking children, so that's a whole nother topic right there.
Whole nother
Um,
topic.
but you know what it made me think of when I read that post? When you were younger and you and your cousins were playing house. So, have you, when you were younger, I'm just going to ask the question, did you and your cousins or other family members play house? And what did that look like when y'all play house?
It wasn't cousins. It was kids on
Mm.
the block,
Oh,
neighborhood friends and whatnot.
okay.
Um, which when I think about it, uh, the boys far outnumbered the girls on the block. Um,
Hmm.
when it came to our particular age range. So yeah, yeah, definitely a thing of homies and homegirls on the block.
Yeah,
As
would
far
you
as house is
say?
concerned, house and doctor.
That's another one, playing doctor. So, as harmless as it seems, and that's going to lead to my next question. Playing house, who typically initiated that? The girls, the boys, or playing doctor?
So okay, let's get into it, folks. Let's get to some brass tacks here.
Let's do it.
Um, let me make sure I got the chat up because, in fact, yeah. Let me also make sure that we got
Yeah.
folks tapped in because we
Because it's a
about to
serious one right here.
we about to get to the shits with this one. Um, yeah, definitely about to get to it with this one. So I got to make sure everything is on the up and up. Everybody tapped in.
Mm-hmm.
The YouTube feed is live, so
Okay.
um, that is Life Be Life in. Okay, a YouTube dog.
Tell
So
them where we at, so they can
yep,
find us.
indeed, indeed. Um, what was I doing? All right, so all right, I'm gonna let you go while I set things up. I'm gonna let you go while I set things up.
Well, I know for me, typically, I can't say that I experienced any like child on child sexual abuse because in my family we didn't play that kind of we didn't play that kind of shit. We was the kids outside playing basketball, playing baseball in the field, riding bikes. We just had those kind of parents that didn't really play that shit. Like you kids cannot be left alone unsupervised. Um, us not checking in, seeing what you doing. We need to know what you watching on TV. And then furthermore, and I'll get to the crux of this later. We didn't hang around people that influence us to go into that realm of inappropriate behavior that
Okay.
was kind of sexually deviant at that age. Like to the point my parents didn't allow us to spend the night over people's houses, not even family. My grandmother, I think that was the only person's house I really ever spent the night over. Um, and when our cousins would come over, it was definitely a separation in the church estate. The boys in one place, girls in another place,
The separation of church and
overnight.
state.
Yeah,
I
because
like that.
you know how it is. You
I
grow
like
up
that.
and you're just like all of the cousins in the living room on the floor. Yeah, it wasn't none of that. My father wasn't having that. He was very aware and cognizant of things like that. And I'm sure probably because stuff he's probably seen, witnessed, or whatever when he was coming up that made him hyper vigilant and very aware of those situations and scenarios happening. And in that moment, you don't really think about it. Like you just think your parents being strict. You don't understand why they're so adamant about, not leaving you guys alone for too long and what you're watching on TV. But now as an adult, it all makes sense to me. And I thank my parents for that because I can honestly say I've never been in a situation where I've had to deal with that. But I know of people that have. And as they've gotten older, they've come to
Hmm.
realize that wasn't as harmless as I thought it was back then. And it kind of leads them to understand like some of their sexual nature and prowess and why they're so, we're so exploratory at a young age and whatnot. But I don't know. I feel like it just happens more often than we believe, and I'm coming to find, without using specific examples, that it's happening to children even younger these days. Because at one point it was, you got your preteens, like 12 to 14, is when that type of stuff typically happens. But now I'm seeing it in
Absolutely.
kids, ages 6, 7, and 8, and I'm really believing that's because they're too free to access things and view things and be privy to conversations and such, which leads them to feel like, oh, what's that about? Um, that looks interesting. Or they find certain things cute. I mean, think about how the music is. It's overly
Yeah,
saturated with sex.
very
It's
much
very
so.
ratchet. And then you have adults that don't have boundaries as to what kids should or should not be listening to. I mean, I definitely can tell you,
Okay.
me and my nephew used to be grooving when I would take him to school some mornings, and I'm like, what do you know about this song? And I'm just kind of like, man, that is a big contributing factor for child on child sexual assault. And, we hear of situations where you got, young males, right, that assault other young males or their, other family members, and they don't want to talk about it because they just want to think that something is wrong with that kid. No, that kid probably in the seen something they weren't supposed to see, and now they exploring it, and they don't know what they're feeling. They're trying to process those emotions, and they're trying to get an understanding of like why this is something that they shouldn't be doing or should be doing.
Mm, very, very true. Okay, we was having some issues with YouTube stream, with the stream on YouTube, so I had to
Gotta
correct
love
that.
live.
Apologize to you guys for the technical difficulties. Trying to be a master of multiple streams and try to get it out to as many people as possible. You know what I'm saying? On all the different platforms and everybody that all the
Hmm.
lifers that rock with us, we try and get it to all of y'all. Um, so let's see. Let's make sure it is public too, because for some odd reason, Facebook will have it to where we stream it and then have it on private. Like,
Right, that's
what
weird.
are we doing that for? What are we doing that for? We're not streaming just to watch it. We're not
Oh
streaming just
man.
for us to watch it. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, so let's uh let me check the audience. Check the audience. See. All
We
right.
over with
So it
you.
is on Friends, but I'll make it public so that anybody who come across us can watch. All right. We live. So for those of you who are just seeing the YouTube stream, we apologize for the technical difficulties. We were getting into the conversation of dun dun dun
Child on
child
child sexual
predators.
assault.
C COCSA
Which is the thing. You
as a
know, if you
safety
Google
term.
it, you don't really find very much information about it either. I think
Mm,
there's like some Reddit pages on it. Maybe a few articles. One that I literally pulled up, which is where I learned what the term was, or the acronym for the term. And they gave a few pointed facts in there, but it wasn't like it was no long article. It wasn't like a whole white paper or a document. Nothing. It's almost like there's very scarce information on the topic of child on child sexual assault.
that's crazy in and of itself that it would be that hard to find. Um,
Yeah, I was kind of shocked because is it because people are not talking about it? Is it because people are acting like it's not happening? Is it
ooh,
because, but also there's the thing of it,
there's that.
child's privacy, so are y'all not writing about this because it's children? But
Mm,
I feel with the lack of information, how are you giving people the ability to know the signs and heed warning for these type of things to stop it from happening? Because it's happening far more than we know. And
absolutely.
it's little silly stuff like kissing cousins. Like we think that's a joke. That's not really all that funny these days. Like,
It's really not.
you know, um, sleeping in the same
Keeping it
bed
all the way
together.
funky. And it's
No,
just the
like,
stuff you take for granted because you're like, oh yeah, we did this as a kid and so forth and so on. And it's like, yeah,
yeah, what
but
we could
like
do
you
then, we
said,
can't do now.
you kind of can't. And then on top of it, like you said, we're not necessarily being 100% honest about how that went for some of us.
Yeah,
For some of us,
yeah,
that was not as innocent as we would like to make it,
yeah. I
quite
agree. I mean,
frankly.
like I said, I'm gonna be honest. By the time those type of little touchy feely things start happening, I was like 13, 14, 15, and of course, in thinking back to my commentary on the podcast, in previous episodes, where I've said, something about basically me starting to have sex so early, like in my teens, and feeling like, oh, maybe that's why I'm a hypersexual person. You start to revisit that when talking about this topic and like, but why? Why were you so interested in sex so early? Like,
Right.
why are you such a hypersexual individual? And I can honestly say I wasn't assaulted. I was never forced. Like, it wasn't anything in a predatory manner or aggression. But can I say some
Thank
inappropriate
God
things at
for
a
that.
young age happened? Oh, for sure. I could definitely say that. And you think it's funny and cute
Right.
until it starts happening to the kids around you, and you like,
Right. Then it ain't no
okay,
more. It
then
really ain't.
it ain't nothing to joke about anymore.
Especially when, you seeing the results of that, right? Like when you're
Yeah,
seeing behaviors change, when you're seeing, uh, the impact change their personality, even.
yeah.
Um,
They become very
that's when it's
aggressive,
kind of
right?
like,
Especially if they have a
yeah,
couple of victims under their belt, they become very aggressive. I've seen it, And you think about like I think about the movie American Me all the time, right?
okay,
And I can't watch those kind of movies for real, like especially like prison movies, rape scenes and stuff. Weirds me out because I always say, what will possess another man to want to assault another man like that? And that goes back to the whole us talking about, essay on men. But
mm-hmm,
I remember watching American Me, and I was like, yo, these are juveniles in a juvenile detention center, literally like forcing themselves on another juvenile.
yeah,
Where does that come from? Oh, obviously, you are a victim of sexual assault or sexual predator from an adult. Or
yeah,
is it another child? Because you're a child forcing yourself on a child.
mm, oof,
Yeah, it gets crazy because it's like,
it sure does. It sure does get crazy.
and so it's like,
Um,
what do you do to stop it? Like, how
right,
can you stop it? Do you stop your kids, from hanging around, their cousins? Like, because as a parent, do you feel like you want to police a kid every 5 minutes?
no, right,
And it's like if you have like I can honestly say, like with my niece and nephew, right? Like Jackson Josh, I call them the Trouble Twins, but they're two totally
right,
different kids. Like Jax is very sweet and I almost want to call her green, right? Because she the kid 21. Can you do something for me? And she ain't got it. She 21,
right,
22. No, Jax, can you do something for me? Josh
right,
all day. He got it. He thugging it out, and I'm just kind of like, you laugh about that kind of shit, but it's not funny.
right,
It's not funny
right,
because it's like, yeah, you're a little too grown. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
mm-hmm,
it it be that example, not necessarily my niece and nephew, but it be that example of the difference in how you differentiate the kid by their behaviors. Like you got one kid that's like way too grown for their age, another
right,
kid that don't has no clue. So they're the kid that's
right,
kind of like, oh, well, we could just, uh, kissing on the lips isn't bad. And then the next thing you know, he's talking about, oh, well, take off your pants.
mm,
And y'all talking about touching private parts and talking about, no, y'all doing
right.
adult shit. And where did you get that from? Who taught
Where
you
did
that?
you get it from?
We
Yeah,
how do you know to even do that? Like, what are you watching? So, like, my sister, every time I like watch like Jackson Gunner, she always like, hey, don't just be letting them watch YouTube. And I'm like, and
right.
up until recently, I'm like, man, look, you want me to watch these kids? They're gonna watch whatever the hell is on that damn tablet. If you don't want them to watch something, block it. You know what I'm And that's me, like, you giving them access to the tablet, and that's why, like, my sister, the kids have Amazon tablets, right? So they
Right.
can't access certain things, and they have like a timer on it for. I think they can access YouTube now, but it's like a timer on it, and certain things are blocked, parental controls. So,
Okay.
like, we didn't have none of that shit back in the day. But
Right.
think about
You
how
right.
many parents don't know to do any of that.
Mm,
My nephew can
right.
do every
The
dance out
kids know
there.
more than they do.
That's what I'm saying. Josh can do every dance out there. It's because he watching, like dance videos, and then you
Right.
see the YouTube scrolling like auto play, right? They end
Right.
up in hell watching all kind
Okay.
of wild, even stuff like doll videos. Like Jackson was watching some, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if you're supposed to be watching this. Let's just cut this off. So you see how easy it is for them to just kind of like end up
Yeah.
seeing stuff that they ain't supposed to see. So, but it's
Facts.
like again, going back to it, when I was watching them, I used to be like, man, I'm not about to sit up here and police this shit. No, I'm
But you end
absolutely
up really
policing
having
this shit.
to.
You
You
really
end up
have to,
really having
because if
to.
you don't,
It gets
you
dark fast.
for
Like
sure, for sure,
I remember specifically, and this isn't entirely on the topic, but it's kind of like you said towards the policing part.
right,
I remember. Pokemon being big. It's big for my youngest
Oh
son now. It
yeah.
used to be big for Nick. And I remember him going on YouTube to watch Pokemon. Okay, cool. But then I overhear some like foul language on it. I'm like, what? It's Pokemon.
Not
Why?
Pokemon.
Why are they cussing? And somebody in their infinite illness and nastiness decided that they were going to dub over Pokemon, like to voice dub over
What?
Pokemon. Right. So you mean to tell me you, being the sicko that you are, sat there, watched the entire video, the entire episode. You know how the episode goes, and then decided to interject certain things because it's not like they just ran all over the track and didn't say anything. They were saying
Yeah.
things according to the original episode, but then certain parts would flip. Like you'd be like, "Hey, Misty, I could sure use a hand over here," and then it would be, "I could sure use a hand, but you didn't. You did it," and it's like, "Whoa, what is this?" So I'm
Yeah,
just sitting there, and
that'd be too much for me.
and just the fact that stuff like that exists to poison our children, like that's somebody who intentionally had that in their mind, like, yeah, let me ruin life for a kid.
Yeah, it's a whole situation, and I'm just kind of like,
So you
so
absolutely have to monitor your kids and what it is that they're consuming. So to answer your point,
HG
now that I
said,
done did the background things, to get to your question, and I don't want to say too much, uh, but what I will say is that for a short portion of my life, I didn't live under my mom's roof and under her rules.
mm,
That's the time when this kind of stuff happened. Because
uh-huh.
one thing for sure, two things for certain. My mom was a hawk. My mom also didn't believe in us staying the night at somebody else's crib. Uh, you know, she wasn't even signing permission slips for field trips all too often.
Oh wow,
Um, so yeah,
she
my
wasn't
mom
playing.
definitely not at all, not at all.
He said, we ain't doing none of this
But
shit.
when you live with people and every other adult works,
Oh yeah,
there's that
too much free
space of
time.
time where nobody's home,
Yeah, too much free time to do shit you ain't got no business doing.
and that's the kind of stuff. Like I remember there was a whole situation on the block where like things could have got bad for me. Like without,
Mm.
yeah, like I looked like y'all remember that scene out the Hunchback of Notre Dame when Quasimodo takes Esmeralda in the tower and everybody's outside like, oh, bring her out.
Oh, one of
Yeah,
them
like
scenes.
it looked that way for me
Oh,
because you had an adult who's like, where are those two kids going and why and what's
mm,
being done? So like
yeah,
it's literally at some point adults telling us to come outside. Whole time, like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. She don't know what the hell's supposed to be done. And we just walk
y'all like
out
two kids doing some shit y'all ain't got no business.
because somebody else hyped us up to do it. Because our peers
Yeah.
gassed us up to do it.
And
You know
how
what
old
I'm
were you?
saying?
Do you remember?
Listen, all I'm gonna say is I was not
All
10.
I'm saying. Oh wow.
I was not 10 at the time.
Yeah, that's crazy. So we in the chat, HG said kids definitely are vulnerable spaces more than ever nowadays, being exposed to so much. But I feel like it's most dangerous because the pedophiles and perverts have more accessibility to them via social media and technology. And see, that's what I was talking about with that YouTube shit. Like, yeah, like so back in the day, right? You ain't know nothing about the pedophiles. You ain't know nothing about the sex offenders. Like that kind of shit was not public. It wasn't, something you can go search and see if, Mr. Brown down the block was a sex offender and what
Right,
he was, registered for.
right.
Um, So it kind of has, the internet and social media and all of that technology kind of has its pros and its cons. So you can
Of
look all of that
course.
shit up, but then it's kind of reverse search
Yes.
in essence. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah,
Yes.
and I'm glad to know it's a pedophile down the block, but he also can look all of us up too. He knows who in the
Yep.
neighborhood because it's gonna tell you how many kids in the neighborhood. Like it's wow. I feel like it's just too much information given, right?
Yes. So you
So,
said
and it's the same
it's
with
a two edged
kids.
sword.
Yeah,
It's a
it's a
two edged
double edged
sword.
sword. It's a double edged sword. So, and that's why, and I noticed the kids are going around the parental, restrictions for them to have social media accounts. You got some parents
Absolutely.
creating these accounts for these kids,
Yep.
and you talking about you running it, but if your kid got a phone and it's on their phone, they at school with their phone, they can do whatever they want. I'm a
Yep.
firm believer of keeping kids these days. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
and
huge on that.
I'm one of those people, right? So, my homegirl, her daughter just as cute as she want to be, right? But every time she see me, she gets like weird. Like she be
Okay.
looking at me like, and then she'll like start climbing all over her mom. And then, her best friend was like, "What is wrong with you? Why are you acting like that?" I said, "She's scared of me." And she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "I don't know." I said, "But she's always like that. Every time she see me, she's like that." And so they were like, "You gotta stop acting like that." And I was like, "Mm-mm." I'm a
Right.
huge proponent of if a kid don't fuck with me, I'm not gonna fuck with them. And I'm not saying like, "Oh, fuck that kid." No, it's like
Right.
I'm gonna keep my
No,
distance.
let them
I'm
have
not
their
gonna
space.
force myself on them. Like I don't believe in that.
Absolutely.
Ooh, and it's another thing. I don't believe in that. Give your auntie a hug. Give your uncle a hug. Give your grandma a kiss. No. If my child say, no, well, I got kids. But if a child with me says no, I'm gonna be like, it's cool. You ain't gotta kiss them. You ain't gotta hug them. You ain't gotta high five them. You ain't gotta kick it with them. You ain't gotta skate with them. You ain't got nothing. Because that's how that shit starts. You forcing kids to do shit they don't want to do. So then
All right.
when it's happening to them, they don't know how to tell somebody no. So she'll be like, kind of like, she'll have to warm up to me. It's every single time she'll have to warm up to me. So I asked her, I was like, why you acting like so you afraid of me? She was like, because you seem angry. And I think I figured it out. It's because my
Right.
voice is kind of elevated every time she see me. Like it's always laughs and jokes. So she probably not used to that. So she only see me ever so often. So at the same time, I'm still nice to her. I'd be like, "You want some corned beef?" And she'd be like, "No." And then I'll be like, "Huh, I'm gonna sit on the table. You can come get it." And she'll come get it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like doing things to make her, comfortable with me as an adult because
Right.
she's afraid of me. And I don't want, and I don't want her mom being like, "You better get used to her."
Right.
I don't want that because then she's gonna grow up with a type of weird resentment towards me because she was forced to deal with me. So
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
Quick
Oh
shout out
yes.
to everybody in the Facebook chat. Not quite sure why it's not translating over to Riverside, but I'm checking through the multiple stream that I'm using. So I'm still so now I'm getting to y'all and I'm seeing y'all and I want to show y'all love. So shout out to
I'm
Tim
sorry.
from I'll Talk If You Listen. Shout out to Jonathan Watson, John, my man from the West Coast Sports for You podcast. Appreciate you tapping in with us, bro. Shout out to Catherine, aka Katie, uh, my man Antonio Medina. So Let's read some of these comments right quick. What are we discussing tonight, Tim? We are discussing child predators.
Child on
Child
child
on.
sexual assault.
Okay.
We're trying to keep it cute today.
Yeah. That's what we discussing tonight. It is a touchy subject, but it's not really spoken on enough with sincerity and depth. So that's what we do here. Um, let's see. Antonio said, "Real shit. My parents didn't play that, and neither do I. Respect." Um, Catherine made a couple of comments. Yeah, she was talking about what we was talking about with the internet, saying that it's all over and very much open to everyone, anyone. Um, she said that whole thing about making your kids, hug and so forth and so on. She's like,
Yeah,
it's because of authority.
HG said facts. Definitely not hugging the molesting uncle. Definitely not.
Right.
Definitely not. Stay away from me, unc.
She said, my friend's daughter don't like me because I don't let her do what she wants around me. Yeah, I know how that goes. I'm the least fun uncle. I'm the most protective uncle. I will make sure that you are good the whole time that you're under my purview. I keep you under my
Yo,
wing like Chinese rice. But at the
under
end of
my
the
wing like
day,
Chinese rice like that.
there's a lot of things I'm not gonna let you do. There's things I'm not gonna let you watch.
Yeah,
Like down to that. Oh, I watch it at home. I hear you, but
I
not
don't
here.
care.
Not
I
here.
don't
I can't
care.
trump what your parents let you do at home. You know what I mean? Either your parents dumb, either your parents is a sucker to you, or either your parent just doesn't understand the ramification because that's sometimes be too harsh.
Yeah,
And the truth is the parent just doesn't understand the ramification of what it is you're watching and what it's doing to you and what it can
yeah,
do to you, and they think it's innocent.
right.
um, because you're still for the most part a good kid. So it's like, oh well, she's still doing well. He's still doing well. So
Don't
so forth and
matter.
so on. The whole time it's like it's poison. It's slowly
Yeah.
seeping into you, altering your thought process and making you right to be a victim of SA or whatever depression even. Like
Oh, and they said that happens. Like a lot of
it
times,
does,
like
man.
child
They
child
had
sexual assault leads to depression because kids don't realize
yes.
what when they
Well, well,
start
well,
to initially don't realize what is happening. When they do, it's like
but here's the scary part. SA on anybody could lead to depression. So of course,
facts.
with kids, it could lead to depression. But here's the scary part that doesn't get talked about enough. Depression can lead to that.
Hmm.
Depression can make you far more vulnerable
Yeah,
because now you need that connection because of what you're suffering through with your depression.
that's a good point. That's a good point. I ain't
So
even think about that.
like that's one of the things that that's like I said, it just seems innocuous. It seems innocent at first when you see, two kids buddied up. It's cute. You want kids to be able to build friendships and build connections that you hope will last them a long time, maybe even a lifetime. But sometimes you got to investigate
Yeah, when
these,
it started looking
most
like
times
duality, you
you got
gotta
to,
be like,
yeah,
what's that about?
exactly. You got to check it out. Like, okay, cool. They dressing alike. All right. That's cool at this age. That's cool at this age. But how many years y'all gonna keep dressing alike?
Yeah,
Like,
nah.
and does that fit your personality to dress alike? Like sometimes you have the cute, hyper, bubbly kids. So if they dressing alike, it fits. It's with the type. That's
Right.
my bestie. I'm gonna dress like
Yeah, we
them. I'm gonna do this. We
twinning.
got our all right, all that. But if that personality wasn't who your kid was, and now that's who your kid looked like, but
Yeah, you
that's
gotta
who
think
the
about
other
what the
kid
influence
is,
was.
yeah, we gotta look
Yeah,
into
you gotta
some
check that
things.
influence. Yeah, and it
Um, the main
and
thing, the shout out to Quan, he was on one of our episodes, in season 2. Uh, the main thing I say to my kids is the internet isn't real. That's
facts.
true and not true
You
though.
said that before.
That's true and not true. We do say that, but it's true and not true, right?
There's
Because
a lot of real shit that happened on
it's
the
a lot
internet
of
though.
real stuff. It's just that some of the real stuff we not ready, to receive it, much less our kids.
Yeah, so I guess that's
You
the
know what I'm
question
saying?
I
It's
have.
given to us wrong.
Yeah, I guess that's the question I have. When do you start having these conversations with kids at this point so that they don't encourage this type of
I started talking to
shit?
my kids at 3,
Yeah.
4,
So
5,
so that's
and
what
it's
I'm
just
saying.
the
Do it
levels.
early.
It's just the levels, right? The conversation is going to change, and you're going to add more to it as they get older. So
Right.
3 is, around that age where if you got to put them in a daycare, hey, there's the naughty touch, there's the no touch, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can't touch this, this, this. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The diaper ain't supposed to be off too long. You know what I mean? Like they don't need to be in the bathroom with you. Um, I taught you how to potty train. They only need to come in if you have an accident. Like
Right.
those kind of conversations, and then it goes from that to Of course, you tell them at all ages keep their hands to themselves. But then after that, it comes to okay, well, yes, you like boys, you like girls, or whatever. They want to hold hands. Okay, you're gonna feel like you want to do that too. However, everything has to be agreed upon. That's when you start stressing consent, like expressed
Yeah.
consent
Yeah.
versus what I'm saying, perceived or assumed. Like, so yeah, the games start early. You just grow with the game as they grow and
Yeah.
keep adding more into that conversation to make them aware.
Yeah.
um and it's funny because Nate, uh he went through this stage where he didn't want nobody to see him naked. So you got to close the bathroom door.
Uh,
He got to change in his room. And on one hand, the other day he ran up on me naked, like, "Hey, Dad," and I'm like, "Yo, what's
oh,
going
what's
on?"
going on?
Right. But you know what I'm saying? Him even just flip flopping back and forth, I give him that room to flip flop back and forth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, have that little bit of autonomy. It's drawers in your drawer in your room. Go ahead, dress yourself.
Gonna put them on.
Tell me when you're running out. I'll get you some more. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Whatever it is, so you could go ahead. Make sure you grab a towel so you could come out the bathroom wrapped in a towel. Okay, remember to wrap it this way, not that way. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah. And
just
it's
just
even
just to give him that autonomy to feel
right.
like I have my privacy. Yes, you're 7, but if you're 7 and you feel like you want your private parts to be private, I applaud it.
I mean, I'm an adult, and I mean, I don't be having clothes on, but I live in a house that's just me and my husband. I could not have clothes on all day long. I probably need to tint these windows around here, but when these kids is over here, it's like me cover up, and I be so like weird about it. And I'll never forget when Marley accidentally walked in on me like getting dressed, and I was like bugged out, but like, cause it's like, that's kind of weird, you know. And she's
Yeah,
like, it's okay, you're my mom, and I'm like, I don't care, like. I don't want you being inquisitive, having questions, none of that.
right.
Like, I'm mindful about, like, when we go on family vacations, I'm mindful about my sleepwear because I
Yes.
might have a tank top and little shorts. I don't have no, bra and no.
Yep.
Nah, let me go ahead and put everything on. I'll be uncomfortable as a motherfucker because, like, I took Josh when we went to Ohio. Was it last year? I took Josh
Okay.
with me, and so he was in the room with me. He had his own bed and everything. Dude ain't want to sleep in his own bed. And I'm like, why am I waking up and you up underneath me every night? But then I thought, I had to think about it. Like, that's probably what he does with his mom. But because I'm so cognizant of making sure there's nothing inappropriate, that triggers like, these thoughts or actions or funny feelings, I'm like, bruh, get in your own damn bed. And meanwhile, he's just being a kid. He want to be up underneath a warm body. He
Right.
feels comfortable and safe. And I'm just kind of like, always concerned. Like, I don't want to do nothing that seems weird, especially with anybody else's child. You
Right.
know, my sister,
Shit,
she goes to
I
this.
don't want to do nothing weird with mine. You know what
I
I'm
don't
saying?
have none, so I always gotta be aware of other people's
So
children. But
like,
if I had my
yeah,
own,
but people, because the way they grew up, tend to do certain things that to other people may seem weird, right? Like you got people that walk around butt naked with their kids all day,
yeah,
asshole naked. You know what I'm saying? Because like, oh well, these my kids and so forth and so on. And it's like, yeah, I hear that. And if that works for
I'm not
y'all, that
doing
works
it.
for y'all.
I'm not
That's
doing
not
it.
going to work for me.
I'm
That's
not
not
doing
going to
it.
work for me. No, like me and my wife had that discussion when our first kid turned about 3. Like,
Mm,
yeah, we
no,
got we got we got to put more clothes on.
we gotta get
We got
dressed,
to put more
baby.
clothes on.
Can't be
Yeah,
walking around here naked.
we
But you
got
know
to put
what?
more clothes on. Because I mean,
Uh,
it's just in terms of trying to set the standard and trying to create an environment, a
yeah,
particular environment where, you don't even have to question if this is appropriate or inappropriate. And again, I ain't judging people for situations where no sexual
not nothing.
transgressions have happened, but it just seems weird to me. It's just weird to me. If y'all cool with that, y'all cool with that. It's
I,
just about not crossing the lines. That's really
yeah.
the issue. So let's really send back to the actual child aspect because we kind of getting away and going
Well, no, I was
broader.
going to say something in regards to
Okay, go
that.
ahead.
I
Go
think
ahead.
what made me duly aware of this as an issue, right? When I was
Hmm.
in high school, I ran after school and summer camp for Jewish Community Center. And there was this one kid there who, his mom was like, how does he listen to y'all? He don't listen to nobody. He was like ADD, ADHD. And so, no, seriously, like he was in love
No,
with
I was
me and my
laughing at
sister.
one of Ace's quotes.
Oh, what did he say?
He said, "Meech, you got the guns out. Of course, young boy want to be under the holster."
No, I put him up. I had to host of them things. But
Oh man.
so they asked my sister and I to babysit their kids because they also had a daughter that was a few years younger than him. And I'll never forget. I don't know what shirt my sister had on, but it was probably like, because back then it was like baby tees and parasucos, like the tight jeans, so like little tees.
Hmm.
So I feel
Right.
like whatever shirt she had on lent to the little girl saying something about her nipples.
Oh.
And me and my sister was like, what you say? And she was like, yeah, they look like mommy's nipples. And I was like, yep, I'm never gonna be naked in front of my kids. Because kids know too much, they pay attention to too much, they
Yes,
be
they
talking
do.
too much. And
Yes,
like
they
I
do.
know, and she couldn't have been no more than 3 years old. She couldn't have been no more than 3 years old. And I think he was like 5 or 6. So I was like, yeah, nah, I'm probably never gonna be naked around my kids. Like, and of course I was like, I ain't never having kids, so it don't matter. And even like with my siblings. Now, me and my sister, we at one point shared a room until I got older.
Right.
And my brother, he was in my parents' room forever. So it was just like, oh, you never leaving here? Okay. So the clothes thing, like it's kind of like I am now. We just do whatever. But yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that in front of kids at this point. Like it would be the weirdest thing ever. Like,
So
no.
speaking of doing stuff in front of kids, because I want to bring something back into this situation, this conversation. So I was around a couple of sexually advanced kids um in my youth. And in one of these particular situations, of course I'm not gonna name names or be too descriptive, but in one of these particular situations, you had a family where unfortunately you had drug use.
Mm.
And unfortunately, you had a parent
Oh,
who,
yeah.
yeah, if you could put two and two
Mm,
together.
I can, cause
Um, so,
I know all about that.
so, yeah, you had kids walking in on stuff sometimes.
Yep.
So
Oh, you talking about kids walking in on stuff?
it's
Yeah.
bad
They.
enough. It's bad enough that around, I'm gonna say around 9, some of us would stay up late on weekends, and staying up on weekend late on weekends means you finna catch Skinemax
Oh,
or Hope Time
oh, yo,
or
we used to watch
HB Ho.
Red Shoe Diaries.
Okay,
Like now that I'm thinking about it, like all of this inappropriate shit we did as a kid is like level one compared to what be going on now. But
absolutely,
yes, continue
absolutely.
on.
But yeah, so that was
Skinemax, I
already
forgot
around
all
that
about that.
age. That was right around that age where if you was up late enough and your folks had cable, you was running into some different stuff, some
Facts.
different programming.
We had cable.
Okay, right.
We had
Okay.
cable.
Uh, so these things got different around them hours. So you was already entranced into this world. You learned how to use the last, the last function on the remote. How to
Listen,
switch
you
back
you
to the
telling you
last
telling all the
channel.
business. You telling all the business. Cause
So you know what I'm
definitely,
saying? Okay.
definitely.
So, but that's already entering your mind
Yeah.
and sending you in a place where you don't need to be as a youth. Whereas like now, like you said, they could just go ahead and grab a phone, boop, shoot. All the kid got to do now is go to Twitter, aka X, which should be called Triple X
Mhm.
at this point.
It's the
Um,
new Tumblr, right?
and some. Um,
I remember when I first found out the Tumblr was full of porn. I'm just posting on regular stuff. I got it going from my Instagram to Tumblr, and somebody I got a notification for a message, and I went on. I was like, "What in the disconnecting, removing this app from my phone because I don't do the whole porn thing." Like
right.
I was like, "Yeah, no, this ain't for me. I'm good." Yeah,
I caught the wave as it was dying because I had that sports journalism page I was trying to do.
I remember.
So it wasn't until like for some odd reason it got locked. I came back, I got frustrated, and then I started seeing other stuff, and I was like, oh, all right, so let's just leave Tumblr all alone. Because yeah,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. So now X is taking its place.
oh my gosh, they might as well call it triple X at this point. Um, because Lord, but yeah, so um, like I said, we talking about late '80s, early '90s. You kind of getting introduced to these kind of things. So then imagine where somebody else is seeing these same things you're seeing, but don't have the apprehensions you having because they walked in on grown adults, slapping skins,
Mm-hmm.
the moanings and the things of the thing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Using body parts and hands and whatnot.
Using body parts.
So like I remember, a girl kept trying to put a hand in my pants. Um,
Fast
and I
tail
liked the
self.
girl, so like I guess if that's what you want to do,
Yeah.
I guess I should consider it. And it probably could have went some ways. It just so happened that uh we didn't have the space and opportunity I thought we had because one of my aunts pulled up, got home, and then it's kind of like, oh,
Party
okay,
over.
save from ourselves. Go back outside. Go back outside. What y'all
And
doing
she
in here?
probably
Go
knew it
back
was up.
outside.
She probably knew it was up. That whole why y'all in here? Why y'all in here by yourselves? What y'all doing? Where's the
Absolutely,
adult? They already knew what time it
absolutely.
was.
Because my folks didn't care. The family I grew up didn't care about company. A couple of friends being in the house when everybody's there or when adults are there is perfectly fine. But yeah, when ain't
Yeah.
nobody there, now you either inside or y'all outside.
Outside. Yep, that was the
You know
rule.
what I'm saying?
That was the
So
rule.
you could
Nobody
be
was allowed in the
inside,
house.
but y'all outside.
Yeah.
Um, let's see a couple
No
more
company in the house.
comments. But yeah, so that kind of stuff. Um, when we talk about these kids being in a position of child predators, it's like, unfortunately, yes, you have the kids that was preyed upon, so of course it's going to pass on. But then you have the kids that weren't assaulted. It's just that they seeing things and don't know how to contextualize it.
Yeah, they almost make other people
So
pray
if
on
right,
other
so
kids to pray
whole
because they're
time
trying to
I
experiment.
like this kid exactly. I like this kid. I'm thinking I saw adults who like each other do this. So if I like this kid, let me do this with this kid.
Yo, I'll never forget. So my father's a gearhead, right? And we
Hmm.
was over one of his like race friends' house. And you start thinking about all of this shit like as you're older. And dude had a son. It was probably about he probably had a good 3 years on me. And it's funny because every time I pass that area, I think about this instance, right? And it's a good thing that I was a smart kid. So they done went outside. They probably looking at a car part or something on a car or whatever the case may be. My father was a drag racer, and
Okay.
so old boy changes the channel, and it's literally a sex scene. And he was like, "You know what they doing?" And I was like, "Yes," because I'm probably like 11 or 12. I was like, "Yes." He was like, "Do you do that?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "You want to do that?" I was like, "Dad, time to go." I just was like, "What the?" And of course, I never said anything to my dad because my dad a little throwed off. That's
Hmm.
and but I was like, every time he would be like, "You want to go over to so and so house with me?" No. And I used to, anytime my father was going to his race friend's house, I'm going with my daddy, not to that house, because I already knew this son was on demon time. Nope, 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 nope. I'm good. Miss me with all of that. So it's
Hmm.
like, again, I always say I thank my father for hipping me to a lot of shit. And probably, I mean, again, I was a kid that was watching Scarface with him at 3 years old, knew all the words. Like, seriously, highly inappropriate shit.
Right.
but it also made me hyper aware and hyper vigilant of certain things that were happening. Can I say I caught everything? No. Did I probably miss some shit? No. But when I saw stuff going down that I knew wasn't supposed to, or I was in a situation, I was like, yeah, let me remove myself expeditiously. So it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, we got to start teaching kids. Remove yourself expeditiously. Call for an
yeah,
adult. Find you somewhere else to be. Find you the next best person to go sit with or go play with or something. Because man, that shit happened fast. Like, just imagine
fast,
if my
yo.
answers had been no, no, maybe
Right,
so. Okay,
right.
I would probably been having sex long before 13, 14 years old.
What? What?
So
I could have
it's
lost my
crazy.
virginity at 11.
Yeah, facts. Like
Flat
if I
out.
wasn't, you know, smart to be like, no, but you find a boy you think you like and
What?
you do dumb shit. But at that age, it was like, yeah, no, like, you some rando. I don't know who you are. And it sounds so, menial as we're sitting here talking about it, but it's a
Yeah, but
major thing.
it's big deal. Yeah, it's a
It's a
big deal.
major thing.
All right, let's run back to the
Um,
comments. A said poke time. Yup, yup.
poke time. That's what it means.
Um, uh, yep. Tumblr do got smut. Ace. Well, I don't know if they. I think they cleaned it up since then. But it used to have heavy smut.
Um,
It used to have heavy smut. I ain't been back on Tumblr for like a good 4 years, so
I mean,
I don't
I
know what it's
heard like
still
it just
hitting for.
depends on who you follow, I guess. Just like
Uh,
on X, it probably just depends on who you
Man,
follow.
it barely depend on who you follow because all it takes is for one person on your timeline to like or share the smut. Next thing you
Oh
know,
yeah. Now I will say this: when I do get on, like if somebody sends me a post from X or something, um, I'll get on there, and it's
I'll
now
be in the chat.
they it's kind of the for you shit or the
Yeah,
explore type shit. So that's mostly what you talk about. Yeah, I popped up on this joint and it says couple. Why y'all got on OnlyFans with this shit? I ain't go say their name because I don't want people running
right.
to But I was like, so y'all just putting all of that out there. No
Yeah,
judgment. I'm
yeah.
not
That's just
judging.
how they rocking.
But what I'm saying is that's what you call couples content, and you put it on Twitter. I want to know what kind of money they making off that type of shit. And so that's another problem I had with stuff
They
like
gotta
that.
have
It's
some
big.
other drink. If it's not OnlyFans, they gotta have something.
I'm sh-
Fansly or
I don't
something.
know, but
They
the
gotta
fact
have
that
something.
shit like that is monetized, that just tells you how easy it is for kids to access that
There you go.
because you making money off of it. Again, no judgment, but you're cool with putting that type of content out there where it can be easily accessed. Because again,
Yeah,
Twitter is very easily accessed. It ain't like you gotta be 18 to follow their page and
right,
you have to have certain guidelines or rules. It's not like, it's a private group or anything like
right.
that. It's literally like you could go Google them and you could just go and see them going
There
for
you
it.
go. That's a
And
fact.
that's me putting it nicely. You're gonna see them going for it. It's actually two couples like that on there. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine. Like, and they're couples. Like, I think one couple's actually married. I couldn't imagine me and my significant other's content just being posted to the internet like it's a free fall.
Hmm.
Like that's private.
That's private because you want to be private, but they want to do it public and they want to get paid for it. You know what I'm
I
saying?
guess. Look, I said I
Um,
wasn't gonna judge. So I'm gonna stop balling my face
but you
up.
made that face right.
Uh,
Tim
but this
said
is this is shit.
the
Oh,
most dangerous part about dealing with kids is that there isn't a quote unquote right way to do things. There are some things that are clearly
ooh,
defined as wrong, but how to raise kids the quote unquote right way is completely subjective, and you are absolutely right.
absolutely. I couldn't agree more because again, like I said, the way I can deal with one nephew
Yeah, if
or
you don't shut
niece
up.
is not the same way I could deal with another nephew or niece.
Yeah,
It varies. It varies. So it's like, yeah, I know I can say one thing to one, but the other might not fully understand what I'm saying.
Hank said, "Sup, gang? What did I just walk into?" Yeah, man. I tried to tell people ahead of time it was going to be a touchy subject. You know what I'm saying? When I
Yeah,
tried to preview that we was
same.
even doing a live. Nigel, what's up, bro? Um, Hypervigilance is just regular vigilance these days. 39% of victims
Ooh,
know the person who did it. Absolutely true.
I like the statistics. Give me more.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Um,
Actually, speaking of statistics, so the one
okay.
article, I don't know if everyone heard that, we're talking child on child sexual assault. That is the term. The acronym is COCSA. When you Google it, not a lot comes up. There are a bunch of like little Reddit pages and threads where people are having regular conversation. I did find one article that's like 5 facts about child abuse, child on child sex abuse. I'm sorry. So it's like one fact: ages 12 to 14 are the peak ages for adolescents to engage in harmful sexual behaviors.
Absolutely.
Second fact:
Absolutely.
70% of all adult predators have between 1 to 9 victims. So I'm guessing,
Jesus.
so they go on to say, because it has more context to the facts, but I'm going to read this one. This means that if a child or teen victimizes another child or teen, they need help immediately so they will not go on to victimize others. But they said adult predators. So are you saying that these kids turn into adult predators?
That's exactly what they're saying. That's
They need to be a
exactly
little
what
more
they're saying.
specific with that because
That is
yeah,
exactly what they are saying. And again, like I said earlier, a lot of times you have these situations because a kid was touched inappropriately or dealt with inappropriately or it was SA. Like so because they don't really have their mind wrapped around it, right? Because when you talk about kids unfortunately being, violated by adults, it always, got that big boogeyman story where the kid was like, no, I don't want to do this, don't for so on. And there's the times that's not accounted for where it's just like a kid might have been curious
yeah,
and an adult took advantage of that. Or an
yep,
adult slowly planted ideas in their head to make them more curious and more pliable and willing to participate. You know what
and
I'm
it's hard
saying?
because what was done to them
So
as a child.
what when that happens, and again, a lot of hurt people hurt people. So a lot of times it don't just start out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Something happened. Either you saw something you wasn't supposed to see, or somebody did something to you that they wasn't supposed to. Either way, it's a corruption aspect, right? Um, so I could tell y'all from a couple of stories I know when you talk about child on child, like me said, it goes down to the younger ages too. But even just as simple as 16 and 11,
yep, yep. Because
okay? The babysitter,
oh my goodness, yes,
the
your
high school
older your
student
your older
that
siblings,
you trust to babysit,
friends.
the older cousin, all these things, the neighbor. I know a person who, yeah, like one is crazy, nine is mind blowing. Absolutely, Hank.
Oh yeah,
Um, so yeah, like these it can get real bad. And like you said, without help, that's somebody who's going to do something out of pocket later.
yep. Which
Either
leads,
it's going to lead to a trend of sexual deviancy where they're doing things to other people, or they're going to be incredibly hypersexual and not even be able to really build proper relationships because they
hmm
build everything off of sex. Um, even I saw a post earlier this week that talked about what us men deal with, where a lot of us men were young boys who had our first sexual experience with an adult or with somebody
I saw that.
considerably older.
I saw that.
So
Which
then where 16 and 11 is not cool, it's terrible.
yeah,
um
which leads to the next fact that it says as many as 40% of children who are sexually abused are victimized by older and more powerful children.
Yes, yes. Like I said, I know somebody without giving up all their business where he was living in the crib. And unfortunately, like you have a lot of these stories where a lot of people had a lot of people living in the crib, especially if you had the grandma that adopted the whole hood, or you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying. You got the grandma that's either African or West Indian, so everybody from
Yeah.
home come and stay with her before they get their own crib. Um, and that's 11th grade and 6th grade. Yeah, yeah, it's that raw, bro. It's that raw.
Yeah.
And here it is, everybody living in the same house, and this older child uh does something with the younger child. In this situation, um, you had a young boy who, like I said, my age, we at this age, we find the Skinamax, whole time, HB Ho. You know what I'm saying? The late hours where we shouldn't even be up. So yeah, we're watching inappropriate stuff. We're getting ideas in our head. We're having older cousins, homeboys on the block, people talking about, sexual things and stuff like that. And we start
Yep.
getting interested. We want to do parts of it. We have now seen titties. Like, you know what I'm saying? We ain't seen them up close yet, but we
And,
seen them in movie after movie, show after show, and they look magnificent. Like, so,
and now you're trying to see him in real life in 3D.
okay, okay. So what happened was that he walked in on her after she was in the shower and had fully got dressed, and she apparently slept with no bra, and he just sitting there, peeking his head in, and apparently was like, "Ooh," and so so she turned around and kicked him out. But then, he was determined, and
To come back.
apparently got a dare to see if he could touch him. What
Mm.
does he do? He takes the dare. So he said he waited till, she was in the bathroom with no lights on. So she brushing her teeth, putting her hair up in her bonnet or whatever. And y'all know how them shirts be where, girls who got boobs, the shirts is down here until she reached like this, then, the titties about to fall out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when that happened, he crept up and just
Gotcha, bitch.
crept up and grabbed him. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, oh my God, oh my God, smacked him on his head, but didn't tell nobody. So,
Mm-hmm.
right, you see where this is going.
Mm-hmm. She thought that shit was
So
cute.
apparently one day nobody's home. Um, I had just seen him a couple hours ago. We outside playing, whatever we playing. He in the crib. He said that what show that me and him used to like to watch? It was either Knight Rider or some future version of like or whatever, some
Mm-hmm.
kind of futuristic show that both he and I used to like watching. Um, and while he was watching the show, she came and sat on the couch. So he on the couch and he looking at her, and she, asked him about what he watching, and then she laid out on the couch and was like, you could go sit over there. I'm taking this couch now. So he's like, no, I was on this
Oh.
couch.
We
She
sharing, bitch.
says, right. So that's what he said. I'm, you got to leave room for me on the couch. So she said, the only way you could be on this couch is if you on top of me.
Okay.
So he said, okay, cool. And
Fine.
sat on her
Fine.
and sat on her.
Yeah, you thought you had him.
So apparently, she sat up, kind of sat halfway on the couch, and asked him if he watched that show again last night. So
Mm.
apparently she was watching him watch Smut.
Oh wow.
And he was like, oh, you
You know
know?
about that?
And she's like, yeah, I watched it before too. He's like, oh my God. So he want to have a whole conversation about it because she older,
Yeah. Now we bonding over porno.
pretty much. Next thing one thing leads to another to where, she's telling him to kiss her on the neck and,
Oh yeah,
she
that part.
unbuttons her shirt and now he can hold him and play with him and he can do, what other stuff. So
Mimicking moves.
they didn't get as far as him actually, having intercourse with her. But, he got his hands in the cookie jar,
Mm.
and he actually got scared and ran upstairs.
Oh man. Well, which leads to fact number four. Sex
So
offenses are the crimes least likely to involve strangers as perpetrators.
absolutely, absolutely, it's going to, of course, not at the child age because it's not like some kid is coming out of nowhere just like you know what I'm
I mean,
saying.
I
It's
can't
going to
say
be
that.
some kid who's in the vicinity, like how a lot of
Mm,
crime, a lot of assault, just assault in general, usually happens amongst proximity. A lot of crimes are proximity. You do something
I
to
guess.
somebody you can reach, somebody you can touch, somebody who you're not going to run into just once in the blue moon.
Yeah, I
So
guess
when
I
it
was
comes to
thinking.
these type of situations and when it comes to essay, a lot of times it's people you know. Whether you know them very well, whether it's an
Okay,
acquaintance,
I was
you
about
know
to
what
say.
I'm saying? Whether they just know of you, they know what block you live on. Whatever it is,
Yeah,
it's some kind of familiarity, and that's what allows them to get you. Is because
yeah,
there's a familiarity. Maybe they know your way home, so they know where to stop and get you at.
yeah, yeah,
They know your activities. You're a cheerleader. You're a basketball player. Or you deliver the newspaper, and they know you're out.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe you
I'm
like
about
a
to
certain
say
kind of candy.
we had
Whatever it
a.
is, there's something to connect for that kid to make the opportunity to have the opportunity to make a move on another kid.
I was.
How old was they? Reg, what's going on, cuz? How old was they? So I know, I was living out Germantown um when I was in third grade. Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah. When I was in third grade. So yeah, yeah. So this had to have happened when he was in like fourth grade, maybe fifth grade.
so what's
He was
up?
in
In
fourth grade, maybe
11?
fifth grade, and she was in high school. She was going to high school.
Oh yeah, she was advanced, advanced.
Oh yeah, she was already come to find out, she was already having sex by then. She was already having sex.
And see,
She was
that's
already having sex.
yeah, that's that crazy shit right there.
I had actually ran into her boyfriend. I think we both ran into him at separate times, but I actually ran into him. I knew the girl because the girl was staying at the house with him. So like I knew who he was talking about. But I actually ran into her and her boyfriend one time when I was coming back from the pool, and he was like mighty handsy. You know what I'm saying? Like he'd have his hand in her belt loop, grinding
Hmm.
on her, feeling on her, all kinds of stuff. So it's like, in retrospect,
That
it's like,
translates.
yes,
That translates. Yeah.
yes, yes.
So yeah.
Um,
Last fact: children who disclose their abuse within 1 month are at a reduced risk for depression. But how
Time is of
hard
the
is it?
essence,
Yeah, but it's so hard for children
but
to
it's not
talk
easy, right?
about that. It's not like I feel like that has to be caught. Like that has to be something that someone catches in the act of it happening for a child
It,
to be
it
willing to talk
it's
about it.
it's about the connection and about the relationship with the adults. Because
Yeah,
again, that happened. We were in the 90s. You
yeah.
didn't just go and tell no adult like, "Hey, uh,
So let me touch your boobies.
shorty, let me feel the coochie." Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, but it might be my fault first because I grabbed her titties. Like that,
Yeah, you ain't snitching on
you
yourself.
know what I'm saying? Like you don't even and the truth of the matter is, and again, this is why so many young boys first experience with an older person being something that we look at different from when you hear a girl first experience with an older person. Everybody in the world knows that's nasty, right? Everybody in the world knows that a 16-year-old sleeping with a 20-year-old, he's nasty.
Hmm.
When it's a man, when it's the
It's
20-year-old is a
nasty
man,
either way around, if you
everybody
ask me.
everybody knows it. The only person who might be proud of it is the girl, and maybe a couple of her homegirls, but they probably talk about it behind her back.
Hmm.
Um, Either way, you know what I'm saying? Everybody seems to know that's wrong. But when it's a young boy, so he telling me this story, I don't realize he's a victim. I'm like,
Yeah, it doesn't seem
damn,
that way.
you got to touch
Yeah.
it? How was it? How did it feel?
Yeah.
Did you look at it?
Well, you hear stories now,
You know what I'm
you just
saying?
like, really? Like back in the day, you probably would have been like, damn, you had an older chick.
Like
Now
that's
you
what I'm
like,
saying.
you
But
realize she
that's
was a weirdo, right? Like that was weird.
so that's what it is. The lack of information. What you don't know is what you don't know, and you only have the context that you have. And for boys in general, even now,
Yeah,
still unfortunately, for boys, it's looked at differently when an
it
older
is.
woman introduces you to sex.
It's
It's
almost like
like
it's
it's an
okay.
achievement. It's like
Yeah, there
PlayStation
you
achievement
go.
unlocked. You know, you know, Cougar Cooter unlocked. You know what I'm saying? Um, you the man because it's like,
Yeah,
what is so special about you to make her decide that out of all the grown-ups she can, do something with, she wants you,
because you were vulnerable. That's why.
dumbass, not even knowing it,
Yep, yep.
thinking you special,
And you
thinking
not.
you important, thinking you cool, thinking your gat gotta be huge. It gots to be.
You were probably just the kid that wasn't gonna say nothing because you too
It
meek.
gots to be. But I mean, unfortunately, if you put 50 boys in a room and ask them if the fine ass, badass teacher that looked like so and so, whether it's man, she look like Ice Spice, yo, don't she? Don't miss such and such look like
Oh
Ice Spice.
man.
Don't miss so and so look like Cardi. Don't miss so and so look like Meg.
And all of
If
those
you
rappers
put
are hypersexual rappers. Like that's
okay,
all they rap about is their pussy.
but even if it's an actress, and even worse if it's an IG model, right? If she resemble an IG model,
Lovely IG models.
um, because like you said, those are sexualized characters. So when you see a woman who reminds you of that, these kids are already in that frame of
Programming.
mind.
It's a
So
programming is what
then
it is.
once you get that fantasy presented to you, you're not going to be like, oh, this is wrong. I shouldn't.
Nope, you're gonna go along with
No,
it. That's why you got all
no,
these weird
get your
ass
head out my
teachers.
lap. Get your head out my lap, Miss Trinidad. No,
Listen, that's why you got all these weird
no.
ass teachers sleeping with their students now.
And that's exactly why you see it so often now.
Yeah.
Particularly, you see the uptick of it being exposed, where it's female teachers and male students.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
been overlooked for so long. It was only seeming like that one or two crazy cases where the crazy white woman sleeps with the kid and then she wants to have his baby and they're in love and
No,
all that kind of stuff. No, man, this stuff happens way,
it's some
way.
more regular shit now.
So, back to the kid portion of it, it can just be that simple. Where like I
Yeah.
knew, I knew, I knew a couple of dudes who had an older girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? They was in middle school and a girl in high school was digging them.
Mm.
So, I thought that just was more proof that he that boy and I'm not. Like,
Yeah. No.
I can't get girls in my grade to like me. And
Something was just wrong with her. That's
he
what
got
it
this girl
was.
coming down from high school to come walk him home.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
She
Must be
being a little
nice.
pervert.
Must be
She
nice.
was on pervert
Whole
status.
time she being trifling. Whole time she being trifling and disgusting.
Pervert status. Oh boy.
So, to kind of put this in a boat, since we at this time in the podcast, let me see if it's any more chat comments because I don't want to miss anybody's.
Hmm.
Appreciate everybody who jumped in. All right, so to put a bow on it, man, it is a huge deal. It goes so easily overlooked. Like we said, anything
Yeah.
from, playing doctor, playing house. Like I saw a girl's panties at an age too early. Okay, like I should have only seen panties in drawers at best, or in the laundry basket at best. Um,
Yeah.
not while some girl was still in them.
Yeah.
Um, a vagina was placed in front of my face before I even knew what to do with it. Um,
Oh wow.
and that's why I didn't do nothing with it
Hmm.
because I just was like, yeah, all right,
What do I even do with this?
legit,
What is that?
legit. Like what? I saw the movie, but I don't know how to make that happen. Like,
I need a little more practice, a little more
you know what I'm saying?
Skinemax.
But even with Skinemax, right? It's not the raw joints that it is now because you just saw a body on top of a body. Now you literally the camera is right in on this part.
Oh no, I can definitely
You know what I'm
say
saying?
when I was,
It was only certain joints where you saw the
yeah.
real and the raw.
Hmm.
And even then, it's like, you know what I mean? Because they doing cut scenes, you're not really, paying attention uh to the intricacies.
Yeah.
Keith Jr. in the chat. What's going on, Keith Jr.? He said I jumped off the porch at 11.
Mm. And that if you talk to a number of males, I guarantee you that is
Preteen,
around
man.
the age
Yeah,
11 to 13, 11 to 13, 11 to 13.
preteen.
Um,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ones that were forced, it's probably more like 8 to 10,
Yup,
8 to 10.
yup. Yeah, yeah. It's just crazy. It's legit crazy how it goes. And I know I spoke a lot about boys. We're not neglecting the female side of it. I'm just
Not at
saying,
all.
speaking from my
Not at
point of
all.
view. And because
We were speaking
what
on
happens to
boys because
boys,
girls is
right?
older, like the older adolescents. We're gonna call them
Yes,
adolescents.
it's not spoken
Seem
of enough.
to, kind of
It's not spoken
prey
of
on the
enough,
young men, and it's normalized when
right?
it comes
And
to
even
child on child
unfortunately, when
sexual
you have
abuse.
the same gender situations, where you have this going on between kids of the same gender,
Like I told
um,
you, like
you have it all the time.
American
It's a reality.
American me shocked the shit out of me,
You have
but
it
that
going
shit is
on.
actually happening. Like
He
there
said, "Cue the
are.
CSI music." Word. Okay. Okay.
Hey,
Law
it's
and
some people who
order.
definitely need to be studied and locked
SVU.
up for shit like that.
No, for real.
For sure.
For,
For
and,
sure.
and that's the you wanna know what? That's the crazy part. So to go back and put the spin on that story that I told you earlier, me and Mans, we reunite back around I graduated middle school in '96. So all right, me and him start kicking it again around 98, 99. He have some at his folks. Um, was it his grandma house? He had some at his grandma house. Invited me to come through. For sure, I ain't see your grandmom and your mom and your brother in a minute. Yeah, all right.
Mm,
Politicking, we all good, good. Who walks in the situation?
hers.
His predator
Mm.
walks
I
in the
mean, cause
situation
she's part
because,
of the
of course,
family.
nobody's the wiser.
And back then, you wasn't
So,
calling nobody like that the predator, right? They weren't a predator.
so
They
at this
weren't
time,
a
he's
problem.
laying, he's getting girls left and right by this time. By the time 99, yes, my man was bagging and
And
tagging.
she probably like, yeah, I told him everything he know.
So they hadn't seen each other for like a good 8 years. for like a good 8 years. They hadn't seen each other at least in that long. But she come in there and she pregnant. She come in there and she pregnant,
Mm.
and he sees her, and I see her, and I look at him, and I'm like, and he's like, so he goes to speak to her, and she won't speak to him, and not even on the ignorant, like rude, like shame, like somehow
Oh.
it connected. At some point, it connected what she did. Like
Mm.
she eyes down when she walked past him and past his mom. Eyes down.
I mean, cause you pregnant, so that's the sign of you fucking.
Well, everybody knew she was fucking by then, but like, because the pregnant thing seemed to bother nobody really. It just was
Oh
me being
man,
shocked and him being shocked. So everybody else must have already knew.
new.
But it was when she got near him that her disposition changed. Because when she first walks through the door,
Oh.
it's hey so and so, hey so
And
oh
she walked
look at
past
you.
him like she didn't
Da,
even
da,
want to
da, da,
speak.
da, da, da.
Mm.
No,
That's that
I
guilt.
touched, I touched you when you had a wee wee. Before you even had a dick, I touched you when you had a wee wee. I can't speak to
When it
you.
was Lolo.
I can't speak to you. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's wild.
Oh my God. I'm looking at you and oh my God, I can't speak to you. Wow, I was really that terrible. And then
That's crazy.
we talked about it 5 years ago.
Mm.
Because he had a nephew who went through something similar. It wasn't a family member, but
Mm.
it was a teammate's sister. It was a teammate's sister. So his nephew was going through that, and his nephew actually went all the way.
Oh,
Like
oh, babe.
yeah, yeah, he was going through it. I felt for him. I felt for him because he was scared that he might have got the girl pregnant. Um,
See, that's why kids shouldn't be doing stuff at this age, that age. Like it's
nah,
too
nah.
much repercussions. You have to.
His nephew was a sophomore in high school at the time this all happened. So me and him ended up talking
That's
about
why I
it,
don't
and
like your
he was
baby.
like, should I be honest and tell him my story? I said, it's your story to tell, but maybe, maybe it'll help him understand, or maybe you could kind of like allude to it. Hell, tell him the stories about somebody else if you don't want to tell him it's about you.
Yeah.
Um, but just maybe you should give it to him so he understands that it's not like he was being a bad kid or he did something wrong. He was a horny teenager
And he was
that
led
got
astray
taken
by
advantage
someone.
of
Yep, to take
by an
advantage
adult
of him.
woman.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because she was 22. The woman was 22. Yeah,
Shameful.
the teammate sister was 22. And he was just kind of like, he was kind of confused because of the way she acted afterwards. Like, he was like, this woman, like, fucked me great for like 3 days,
3 days. Was she
back to back
hostage or
to back,
something? Oh
back to back to
Lord.
back. Just like I snuck over there. Like the first day I was there, it happened. The second day, it was arrangement. The third day, I snuck over there, and she did all the stuff I ever watched on porn. It felt like, um, you know, I got to paint her face. She ain't
Oh
make me wear a
wow.
condom. She swallowed like
This
all
is crazy.
right. So he's sitting there thinking he living the dream, but
And he a
it was
sophomore
the
in high
way,
school.
yeah, and it was the way she acted. I guess when she was done having her fun, like the way she fleed him, like little boy, I'm about to graduate college.
Yeah.
What you
That was
what you calling me for?
that was very child predatory, if you ask
What
me.
you calling me for? No, that was just some fun. I'm going back for my senior year. We never gonna speak to each other again. Even if I'm
Probably
35 and you 25, don't look for me.
because probably nobody want her ass. So you found somebody who was none the wiser, unsuspecting, and
I
being
don't think
utilized by
so.
those
I think
kids.
that's something that I honestly think that's a false narrative that's brought to too fast. 9 times out of 10, these people who are taking advantage of people, and we'll loop it into I'll loop this into current events, like the diddler. You know what I'm saying? It's not people who can't get any. Like when you see people like these celebrities and stuff like that, clearly there's somebody who's willing to throw it at them. Multiple people who's willing to throw it at them just so they can have the bragging rights and say, "Yeah, I let such and such in my body." But then
Hmm.
they manipulate in and blackmail in and drug in and all types of stuff. You know what I'm saying? To get what they want from somebody. So just like that in these situations, it's not that that girl couldn't get nobody. I bet she could have. She on a college campus. Ain't no way a girl on a college campus can't get laid.
See, no, you misunderstand it. I ain't saying she can't get late.
No,
She
or
probably
even a
gonna be the one
boyfriend. I
getting
guarantee you,
slutted
she could
out.
probably get a. I okay. So I
So
bet you she
you
could probably
doing
get
to
a
him
boyfriend,
what people would probably done to you.
may
So
or already
that's what I'm
have done, perhaps.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Nobody really wants your ass. So you
But
going and doing
it's not
to
even
these
that
young
nobody.
kids.
It's not even that nobody wants you. It's that at some point somebody treated you like that. You know what I'm saying? So
So when
because
I say nobody wants your ass, you know how girls want to be wanted. They want to be in a relationship. They want to be treated
no, no,
like,
no. I,
you
I
know,
I get what you're saying. I
yeah.
get what you're saying.
So
But what I'm saying is because people say that about the dudes who do this too. Oh, that's why you sitting there. You want to sleep with this young girl because don't no woman one your age wants you.
no,
And it's not true. These people could very well find relationships with people their age if they wanted to.
yeah, it's just
The
not gonna look like what they
problem
want it to look
is
like.
the prop. It still might, but it's not what they want because it's not the power dynamic that they want.
That's what I'm saying. It's not gonna look like how they want it to look, meaning they don't have power
So
over that person.
right. So you could be treated well. You could be this person. This dude could worship the ground you walk on, but it's not enough because at the end of the day, that's a grown man. You a grown woman. So it's not enough. It don't feel. It don't hit the same way.
It's no control.
Whereas
Can't
in
control people.
whereas in with this kid that don't know his way around,
You can control them.
he don't know the ropes. Everything has to be on your time.
Yeah,
He literally has no other choice because you caught a kid before he started fucking.
yeah. Basically dominated them pretty much.
Because I ain't gonna lie, most of us boys, by the time we start fucking, yeah, you can't run that game on us no more over here with us just sitting there thinking we don't know nothing.
Not
No,
old
no,
head.
now, if you want this pipe over here, you got to pay. I need some
Not
J's.
old
I need some
head.
something. Yeah, yeah. I ain't
Man,
slinging this wood
run me that new game,
just
bitch.
because. You heard me? PS5 me, OG.
My controller broke. Hope.
Come on, Cougar. Pony up.
Listen. Y'all better get smart.
Pony up. I got an AAU tournament coming up. What's happening?
I need some new
Need
LeBrons.
them fees. I need them fees paid.
We gotta buy gear, baby. Help me out.
Okay, I brought the sponsorship form for you to fill out. Make it look like a donation.
We joke
But you know
about
what
this,
I'm
but
saying? Yeah,
we gotta laugh,
we
not to
make light.
cry, because
I
it's
about to
so
say we make light
serious.
because it's so dark and it's so harmful and it's so terrible that at
Yeah,
some point, like you said, you do laugh not to cry because it's horrendous that our kids are out here being victimized, that we are out here being victimized, and not like you said, us specifically, but like
yeah,
our peers, people our age have these
yeah.
stories.
It's sad.
And people our age have these stories, and then you got to worry about our kids having these stories. So
Yeah, man. Get dicey.
at the end of the day, talk to the youth. Be straightforward with the youth. That's the one thing that I could say will make the biggest difference because we didn't have most of us didn't have people talking to us.
Yeah,
My
this wasn't a
sex
conversation they
education from
wanted to
my
have.
family, my sex education was my family was don't do it and don't get no girl pregnant.
You're not old enough for that.
That's the extent of the conversation. Don't have sex. Don't have sex till you're married, and don't
Mm,
get no girl pregnant. The STD
yeah,
conversation came a little bit later on, but like that was it, and
yeah,
that's not enough. That's not enough to information to arm a kid with, so that when an older person says, "Hey, you look like you want some dick," or "Hey, you look like you want to see what coochie is about,"
No, I don't. I'm
I
good.
have some. Would you like some? Would you like to try some?
A little more.
You know
Well,
what I'm
more,
saying?
please, sir. No, don't want none. Keep that shit away from me.
You know what I'm saying? But before, catch a girl, freak a girl turns into something. Before spin the
Oh,
bottle
listen,
turns into something. Before,
yo,
the crush, before the childhood crush turns into something. Because it's
yeah,
all these
all
different
bad,
ways that this could turn into something. You know what I'm
all bad.
saying? Have this conversation. Like I said, I talked to my boys when they were 3,
Yeah,
and I just stayed on it. That's all it really takes, is just that staying on it, but having the conversation to where it's open communication and your kid feels safe in telling you that they in the danger zone.
you gotta be mindful
Like,
about
I
having your.
ain't do it yet, Dad, but I want to do it so bad. Your kid got to be able to come and tell you that. Mom,
That's
your
what I was
kid
about
got
to
to be able to
say.
come and tell you that.
You gotta be mindful
Like,
about what's going through your kid's
my
head.
private part throbbing.
I wish these kids would tell me that. I'd probably bust out laughing, but
Okay, like, I don't know what to do. I
listen,
don't know what to do.
it's
That
all
girl
about
hugged
helping
me.
them navigate that.
That girl hugged me, and I've never been this hard in my life.
I never
That
been hugged like that before.
You know what I'm saying?
She hugged me and gave me a chubby. No.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
I
need to
mean,
be able to talk to your daughter about, the bull rubbed his hand on her hand and told her she looked nice today, and it activated, the moisture in her drawers. Like,
yeah,
these is uncomfortable conversations, but we
they
gotta
are.
be willing to have the door open for our kids to have them, because our kids get taken advantage of because they don't know what they don't know. Arm
Yeah.
your kids with information, and be if you can't be that person, make sure that they know who that person in their life is.
And
Uncle,
so
brother,
that's the
uh uh uh
thing.
community member, coach, barber. Okay, for a lot of us dudes, the barber be who we can tell everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You really
So
gotta know who
make sure
you.
they know that somebody in their life is available for them to go run and tell everything before they commit to any decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I'm like that person for a lot of
The
kids.
godparents, all that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, I
All that
like where
kind of
I'm
stuff.
at. I
And
like
listen, if y'all ain't got nobody,
supplemental
I ain't
support.
saying we here to adopt y'all kids, but if y'all kids need to get some stuff off their chest to a couple of
Send it
strangers outside of, the therapist, because please consider getting your kids therapy too.
for sure.
Um, please, because it's if they need somebody to talk to and they
It's
can't talk to you, they gotta
necessary.
talk to somebody. But if they gotta DM us and just ask a couple of questions, man,
Yeah.
life be lifing underscore nah, life be lifing. What is it? For
For
underscore Mimi.
Mimi. Mm-hmm.
We we
Hit me
we
up.
we make ourselves available,
She
because at
do.
the end of the day, we want the best for everybody who tunes in, everybody who gives us their time, their energy. We want the best for all y'all and y'all families, man. We want for y'all what
Yeah.
we want for our families. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't care if it gets that bad to where they just got to DM a couple of strangers
Listen,
that want the best for them. Please,
my
we
best
leave that
friend
open.
definitely told her daughter the other day, yeah, go spend a day with y'all Mimi and tell her all of her business. Tell her all your business she don't want to tell me. And I was like, child, I said, I probably know everything. I said, but it's about asking the right questions. You want to get the information out of these kids, you got to know how to ask the right questions and how to ask them, And I also want to stress, please be aware of the people that you are around and what they've been around. Because
Absolutely.
if you know that you have family members or friends or close, relatives, friends of the family that have been in situations such as, what we're discussing here tonight, don't go leaving your kids with them. I don't mean no harm. Like I'm not saying everybody has been through that. That trauma is not worthy of them being around children, but sometimes people like to ignore and dismiss what has happened to them. So they ignore and dismiss the signs, and then they're not paying attention to what's going on to the kids that are in their presence. It either makes you hyper vigilant or it makes you want to act like it never happened. So be
Right.
mindful of who you got around your kids, who you got around you that are around your kids,
Well, we always say
because
KYP, know
know
your
your
personnel.
personnel. Yeah, for sure. I'm a big proponent of that. Like you definitely got to know what people done been through. You got to
And
understand.
investigate everything your kids tell you.
Mm,
Are there kids somewhere lying on
for
adults? Yes, the
sure.
fuck there are.
For
But
sure.
investigate it. Whoop
For
their ass once you
sure.
find out they lying. But
Not whoop their ass.
wear
But
them
no,
the
for
hell
sure.
out in front of the person they lied on.
Yeah.
But I'd rather that be the case than for you to sit there and think that this person is above reproach,
Yep.
or oh, they would never do this thing, and then you don't look into it and find out they enjoy doing it.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
I've seen too many horror stories. Um,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, and it can really fuck up a person as an adult.
Yeah.
You know, stop them from
It
ever
can
being able to find love. Have them in
sabotage your
major clinical
relationships on.
depressions.
They sabotage relationships on purpose because they don't want to deal with that
Man,
trauma.
it'll
They
have
don't want to
somebody losing
express
their
that to somebody
job. You
else.
hear me?
Yep.
Because they can't
Yep.
function with people.
Yep. Yep.
This stuff is really that deep.
It's crazy.
And if you have been a
Yeah.
victim, I urge you, please talk to somebody. Begin your healing journey as soon as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Do it in earnest. It was not your fault. I don't care how horny you was.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. I need to
No, it
stress this
wasn't.
part. It was not your fault. Listen, kids be fast with each other. I get it. But at the end of the day, it was not your fault because you didn't know better. That other kid might not have known better. It's a dirty game. So don't walk around with that shame like, oh, well, yeah, I did want to, grab a pair of titties. I did want to find out, what riding the dick felt like. I did want to, I was curious and I wanted to see what happens if I, make out with somebody of the same gender. Anytime you have that type of situation where the power dynamic
Yeah.
wasn't in your favor, you got to know it wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
You just was vulnerable. And I'm sorry it happened to you, but it doesn't define who you are.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be what rules your life. Talk to the right
Yeah.
people, get help, um, and live the best life you can post that. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
help other people in your situation if you come across them. Okay? We want the best for y'all, man. We do. We do. Uh, Before we go, of course, I have to let you guys know October 19th, the podcast link live show shall return. We will be at Crush Lounge in Rising Sun. That is 6414 Rising Sun, to be exact, the northeast side of Philly. We will be at Crush Lounge at 4:30. All right, that's when the doors open. Now, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. This ain't one of them lounges or clubs that got the parking lot in the back. It is street parking. So you want to get you a good spot, get there before 4:30. Um, it's an open bar. Well, not open bar, but it's a bar, and they got food there, so you can come, drink, eat, and be merry. The specific topic we're talking about on this show is hip hop. So if you love hip hop and you love conversations about who was better than who, you want to talk about your favorite era, you want to talk about the styles and go back and laugh at all the stuff we used to be wearing, everything down to the backwards crisscross to fucking FUBU. If you want to go back and relive that, if you want to talk about, hip hop in the state it is today, who your current favorite artists are
Hmm.
regionally and all that type of stuff. Come on out. Uh, Mish can tell you she was in the crowd last time. She was in the audience last time. We interact with our uh with our participants.
They,
Where everybody who comes to the show, we make sure to interact with you guys. So it won't just
it's a
be
good
y'all
time.
listening to us talk the entire time, talking y'all heads off. Y'all gonna get y'all moments to shine. You're gonna get a mic if you want it to, get some stuff off your chest if you want. We have fun with it, and we're looking to have even more fun this time that we have a centralized topic. 'Cause last time it was open,
Yeah,
talked
it was
about a lot of things.
open forum.
You know what I'm saying? This time, you know exactly where we at. It's hip hop. You like hip hop, you love hip hop. With us is the place to be.
Yeah,
October 19th. That is 17 days away. It's around the
get your
corner.
tickets.
All
Get your
right.
tickets.
So get your tickets. I got the link in my bio. Anytime you see me post Pod Link Philly, I'll try to make sure to post the link so that you can get your tickets from the event. Right, it's just $20, guys. And one last thing on a very, very, very personal note. October 2nd, 2021. Well, 2020, I should say. Well, no, it was 2021. I lost a good friend, uh, Nasir Day. He was a security guard at the Glendale district office for the entire building, actually, for the location. I won't repeat the address, but he was the security guard for the building for the entire address. Unfortunately, you had a former disgruntled customer or client from an agency that was in the building who decided to blame everything on them and come to exact his revenge. And unfortunately, Nasir was just doing his job, and it cost him his life. Um, so rest in peace, Nasir Day. You are my personal hero. You saved a bunch of lives. People will never give you enough credit. Shout out to his
Hmm.
family if this ever comes across that. Um, his girl that he left behind, his child that he left behind, his mom, all of his family, all of his friends. Um, I just want you guys to know that y'all influenced a dope person. My favorite Cowboys fan. I mean, one of my favorite Germantown Bears, former Germantown Bears. Uh, so rest in peace, Nasir, man. I always appreciate you, bro. I can't say enough. I can't say enough how grateful I am. And um, enough of that.
Mm, yeah.
Uh,
Mm,
as I always say, guys, um, be respectful, be smart, be patient, be kind to as many people as you possibly can. I know some people gonna make that act impossible. It's cool. Forget about those folks. But make sure every single day to take the time out to be
yeah.
kind to yourselves. You cannot pour out of an empty cup. We appreciate you all for tapping in, all the comments that we have from the different platforms,
Yeah.
the patience y'all have for me to distribute the stream everywhere.
It'll be a
Uh,
challenge.
you know what I'm saying? Every time it seemed like something could go wild, but
But we get it
life
popping after
do
a while.
be lifing, okay?
For sure.
You just got to go ahead and life with it. So to all you lifers, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, interact, all of the things. And one last request: we're gonna start doing life be life in moments. So DM us, email us at life be life in Gmail.
I'm gonna love this.
Email your life be life in moment, whether it's of the day, of the week, of the month, and we will pick some out and make sure to read them. If you want to be anonymous, that's fine. We won't mention your name. Just make sure to mention that in the email. If you want it to be told, make sure to mention that in the email. We'll shout you out. But
Definitely
yeah,
better
start
than us
sending
giving
us.
y'all our moments.
Oh, we could start doing that again too. We'll
Oh,
figure out how to work
I'm
that in
good.
if you
I'm
want to do
good.
that.
I'll take
You would
somebody
say you
else's
good on that?
pain.
I feel that. But yeah, no, seriously. Definitely hit us with y'all like be
No,
life in
yeah, we
moments.
love to hear from y'all.
Either on Instagram, either at the Life Be Lifing page on Instagram, Life Be Lifing for underscore Mimi, that's Meme. Life Be Lifing underscore Ni, that's Ni. Uh, Nye Charles on Facebook, Life Be Lifing on Facebook, Life Be Lifing on YouTube. Go ahead and drop it in the comments if you want. But definitely the Life Be Lifing at Gmail. Send them out. Let's get it going and you know what I mean? Let's involve
It's
y'all
the
in the
life be
show. You
life
feel
in
me?
movement. Like join
Yeah,
in.
yeah. And I did not forget about the merch. We're not letting the year go out without me getting some shirts for y'all. All right.
Yes, everybody knows. Tumblr.
Yeah, yeah. All right now. Okay, and I'll try to have some more buttons for y'all whoever come to the show. I gave buttons away last time, so I'll try to
Yep.
make sure we have some that next time, so y'all can just go ahead and pin it, show y'all love, show y'all representation. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? We appreciate you guys.
Represent.
All right, and we gonna let y'all get up out of here. Y'all have a great night. We appreciate y'all, and
Thank y'all.
peace.